Left the best till last, the man who announced his international retirement before today's game, the great Brian Charles Lara. It's an amazing reception you've had there, but the script writer wasn't quite working for you today.
Things didn't work out as planned, but still it's a very good cricket game. As you said, 600 runs scored in a day. What a fitting way to end my career, you know, runs galore. So unfortunately I didn't play much of a part with the bat, but I thought it was a very good effort by all 22 players on the field, and I'm really proud of the West Indies team, the way they showed a lot of fight today. Unfortunately, we didn't get home, but I think it's good to see the spirit in the team still there.
I hope you've forgiven Marlon.
Yeah, it's not a problem. These things happen. You know, you learn that from school cricket. If the ball's behind you, you run, but that's unfortunate, but, you know, let's move on.
You leave us with a lot of very special memories. What are your own personal favourites from a long career that will keep you going in your old age?
I've had quite a lot, Michael. It's hard to say. I mean, it started back in Sydney, scoring 277, my first time I ever scored a double century. My daughter is here today, and her name is Sydney after that particular score. And I mean, I've had a tremendous time playing for the West Indies. They're winning the ICC tournament in 2004. Having the world record for run chase in the 4th innings of a test match, 418 against Australia. And I think that 1999 series against Australia, where we almost got home, we had 2-1 going into Antigua, that was definitely the best cricket series I've ever played in.
As a little boy growing up in Santa Cruz, you'd have had many dreams and many ambitions. Have you fulfilled them all?
Not really. I think from the very first time I played cricket, it was always with 11 guys, with 10 other guys on the field, and you know, my dream and my thinking over the last 17 years was to see West Indies, you know, cricket first of all, try to stay on top, because when I arrived, that's where we were, on top of world cricket. There was a decline, and unfortunately we haven't been able to stop that for the last 10 or 12 years, and that has been, you know, the most disappointing thing. And you know, I'm a team player, and if there's one thing that's really I have great hope for, is to see this West Indies team get back to the top, and whoever takes charge, if he gets the support from everyone, I think it's going to be tremendous.
Thoughts echoed by the crowd of 25,000 people in here today. You've had a special relationship with the Caribbean crowd throughout your career. Any words for them right now?
All I want to ask is, did I entertain?
I think that's a resounding yes.
And if I entertain you, I'm really happy, and I want to thank you all very much for all the support that you've given me over the years. I've got some special friends here today from school, right through my life, and thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for everybody for turning up. I've enjoyed every single minute of it.
Well, I'm sure I speak for everybody here when I say congratulations on a fantastic career. It's always been a thrill and an entertainment to watch you bat, and I'm sure everybody here would like to wish you well in whichever direction your future life and career takes you. The great Brian Charles Lara.
Well, I tell you what, Michael Atherton getting it absolutely right there. There'll be a lot of people all over the world today. Very sad that Brian Lara has now left the international cricket scene. A lot of people with some fantastic memories of watching him make runs all around the world. I promise you there are cricket fans in Australia, in New Zealand, in Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, South Africa. You can go through all the nations around the world who at some stage or other will have watched this man perform with just sheer genius. He is up there amongst the greats in world cricket. He can be immensely proud of what he's done for West Indies cricket. Not everything has been touched by glory necessarily for Brian Lara and the West Indies in his era. But he has been a magnificent player, absolutely no doubt about that. He holds enough world records that anyone will be proud of. The most test runs, the highest test individual score, to name but two. He's been through a number of highlights. He's been a match winner, and Jimmy, above all, he's been an entertainer.
Well, of the highest order. He's been the standard bearer for this generation in terms of batting. himself and Tendulkar would have been the two sort of gods of my era, and I would just, as an entertainer, put Brian slightly ahead of Sachin. And I tread very carefully when I say that. But what he's meant to Caribbean people, certainly at a time when things haven't been going so well on the field, you cannot quantify, you can't put a price on it, David.
Very hard to do, as you say. As a man, I mean, you've played alongside him, you've been inspired by him, by those days in the dressing room with him?
Most definitely. We've been playing with and against each other since we were about 17, 18 years old, and having come up through the ranks with him, there hasn't been a day in his company on the field when it hasn't been fantastic. Not only watching him, but just listening to him, learning from him as well, because he has that touch of genius about him. It's been fantastic.
It could take him a while to leave that ground, actually. He continues to do the lap of honour like that, and signing all the autographs, soaking up the plaudits. I mean, everyone would, as you say, like a demigod, would just love to touch him before he goes, wouldn't they?
Well, he is very revered here in the Caribbean, and I guess quite rightly so. It's a special day for everybody. People here know that they're playing a part in history here, and all of this is going to be recorded. The cameras will be going, and you see everybody wants a piece of him now, but it's sad to see him go, but I just think it's just going to be a huge celebration on his career, what he's done, not only for Trinidad, but the West Indies and indeed world cricket.
Yeah. Well, we've got the left-handers union here, three ex-left-handers. Nick, I'm going to bring you in. What are your thoughts about this departure of Brian Lara?
Well, I was just thinking, it doesn't seem that long ago since I remember hearing about this precocious left-hander that was just coming into the West Indies side, the early 90s. And I was desperately seeing get first sighted him against that series against Australia. How good is this guy? Everyone's talked him up, and he's one of those players who just hasn't disappointed, has he? And the word you keep using there is the one I keep thinking of is entertainment. And the game is a great game, and there are certain players that play the game as an entertainer, and people that are sitting at home will want to turn television on when Brian Lara play. They'll want to get off their seat and go to the cricket game when Brian Lara plays. And he's been one of those characters that's just been brilliant for the game. And it's someone but hard to find so many superlatives that you want to use to describe his career.
We should be concentrating quite rightly on the best of Brian Lara at this stage, but just referring back to the manner of his game. I mean, he was saying only a couple of weeks ago that he wanted to, or a few weeks ago, wanted to carry on playing Test cricket for another couple of years. It seems that things have moved on rather rapidly without him almost being aware of it.
Well, I'm not going to say that Brian wouldn't have been aware of it. There's very little that goes on in West Indian cricket that all the players aren't very well aware of. There has been a history as well. I'm sure if we go back a few years, Viv didn't leave just before that 92 World Cup on his terms, and I don't think Carl Hoop or Richie Richardson did either, to be fair. Yeah. It is something that happens in the Caribbean, and I'm just glad that Brian had a day like today. It might not have been scripted the way he wanted, but he got a full house at Kensington Oval representing the whole cricketing world, saying thank you for what you've brought to the game over the last 17 years, and good luck wherever you go from here on in. And I don't think you can ask for more than that, David.
Well, absolutely. Look back on the good times, look back at all those brilliant moments that Brian Lara has provided for all of us as cricket watchers and cricket fans, and I'm sure the papers tomorrow morning will be absolutely full of it all around the world. Right, we're going to take a little break, back for a few final thoughts.